Hey brothers, welcome to Man Talk Monday. It's Mike here. I want to I want to talk today about wisdom, and I want to talk today about the vital importance of wise men and why it's important for you if you're not actively pursuing becoming a wise man. I want to try to convince you today to begin doing that. First of all, I want to talk about what I mean by wise man. I do mean something really specific, and then and then talk about why I think you need to become one if you're not one already. So I think one of the best definitions of wisdom is the ability to see the world from God's perspective, right? From the perspective of the divine. And seeing as how God is love, then another way to say that is to the ability to see the world through the lens of love or from the perspective of love. And why that's important is um, this. Let me consider this. It's because love is the only lens that allows you to see the world in an unvarnished, unfiltered way. Consider any other lens you use to perceive the world ends up blinding you in some way. If you see the world, for example, through an obvious one, through the lens of selfishness, which a lot of men do, you can never become wise because as you look out at the world, it filters what you see. So you see the world through the preconception of what's in it for me, right? That's the almost like the pre-filter of what you're looking as you're looking out at the world. What do you have for me? What does that have for me? What can this do for me? That automatically filters out anything that's in the world that doesn't have any benefit to you, or it eliminates all the qualities of a person or a situation that do not immediately benefit you, so you don't even notice them. You cannot be wise if you do not have a holistic view of what's in front of you. You don't have all the information. You can never become wise. You see that, right? You can never become wise about this because you have really slanted, skewed data about that. So think about it. If you view the world through the lens of suspicion, let's say that you are suspicious person by nature, and you look out at the world and you're always kind of looking for what's his take on it, what's her take on it, what's that guy after, what are they after, what's the trick, then you're going to be prone to only see deception everywhere you look. You're going to be prone to see how someone is trying to take advantage of somebody else. And you're going to miss a whole lot of information about people who are doing things for altruistic or loving reasons, people who have no ulterior motive. You're not even going to probably even believe that's happening because your filter is blocking you from seeing all that. Therefore, you cannot be wise about making decisions for the world because your filter is preventing you from seeing the whole truth of that situation. That same general principle applies if we're talking about any other filter. Greed, hate, fear. Fear is a big one. Um, you name it. Comparison, uh, self hate. You can go down the list of all the different ways that people, the lenses, the glasses people put on when they look at the world and they try to navigate life, and they have all these preconceived notions, the lenses they put on. Um, Even things like, racism or um, social hierarchy, social status, you name it, stuff like that, societal. titles, labels, all of that. If you have lenses of pecking orders, that also makes it impossible for you to be wise, because that eliminates your ability to see humanity as it actually is. But love is different, because when you look at the world through the lens of love, unlike all those other lenses, love is capable, is able to see whoever or whatever it beholds exactly as it is, unvarnished, with no filters, without any fear and without any judgment. It can see the whole truth. In fact, here's a big thing, you cannot know truth without love, because love is the way to see truth. Love is the right lens to wear to see truth. The wise understand this. And it is only the wise man who understands this who is worthy of being able to sort of hold up the world. And I mean that in both the physical and the metaphysical sense, like to hold up his family, to hold up the community, to hold up the city he's in, to hold up the nation he lives in. Not because he's stronger than other people, but because he can see through the eyes of love. And because he can see through the eyes of love, he sees from God's perspective, and God is able to give him wisdom, the ability to make choices that are right for the whole, and not just filtered out to some kind of warped idea of reality based upon the lens that the false lens, the weaker lens that he's been wearing. So I assert that the survival of all civilization depends upon the wise man. And if you don't have wise men in your society, in places of influence, in places of authority, that civilization will not stand. And if you don't have men, and I'm talking about just men like us, in all levels of society, who are committed to developing their own virtuous character and growing in wisdom, by which I mean growing in the ability to perceive the world through the lens of love, to see the world through God's eyes, and to make decisions accordingly. If you don't have men in all levels of society for whom that is their primary commitment as a man, then society is in grave danger. So I'm really here to say, if that's not already you, please let it be you. We need you. We need you. Right now, the world needs wise men. And right now, we have a lot of what I would call clever boys, clever, immature boys that we're giving a lot of power to. And it's like Lord of the Flies. And that's not gonna stand. So we need wise men. Um, once you commit yourself to this path of wisdom, you stop thinking like a child, you stop thinking like a crazy boy, and you start thinking like a man. And you come to see what I just said is true, that all civilization rests upon the shoulders of men who have committed themselves to the development of their own virtuous character and to the development of wisdom in themselves, the ability to see the world through the eyes of God, through the eyes of love, and to act accordingly. You also begin to see, as all wise men know and see, that love is the only antidote to all of the evil and suffering in the world. Full stop. Not force and not power. Only love is the antidote. All wise men know this. So what you need to do today, if you haven't started doing this already, is to begin to pray every day for God to give you eyes to see the world through the lens of love, to see the world the way he sees it. But I'll give you a warning. This warning comes directly from the Bible, the book of James, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, where the author says, "Consider it all joy, brothers, when you encounter trials of various kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and perseverance will have its results, so that you will become perfect, lacking in nothing. But if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who will give freely to all who ask." It sounds like a non sequitur, but it's not. Here's the warning. When you ask for wisdom, what you're asking for is a trial. And by trial, I mean it's just the Bible's way of saying a difficult challenge, because wisdom doesn't come without a cost. Just like any other masterful skill, just like fitness doesn't come without a cost. Wisdom comes by way of trials. It comes by way of difficult challenges, and you will not become wise easily. So when you ask for wisdom, don't be surprised when things start getting hard. But if you do decide to do this, and I hope you will, because man, we need you. The fruit of it far outweighs the cost, and it will be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Because only through wisdom can you actually become the whole, powerful, purposeful man you're actually meant to be. Only through wisdom can you reach your potential. Everything less than that is a shadow and an echo of the fullness of who you're meant to be. You're meant to become a wise man, but very few men do. That's my word to you today, guys. I hope it's a good one. I hope you hear it. I hope you take it to heart. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.